everyone, and welcome to the Amity Foundation third-party administrator listening session on grants to justice. We will start with, I'm sorry, hold on. I'm sorry, real quick. We will start with introductions of the team. I will get started. My name is Joanne Sanchez. I am the project director for the third-party administrator. And I will pass it over to Alan.
Yes, thank you very much. And good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alan Richards. I'm the Los Angeles Regional Administrator for Amity Foundation. And we'll pass it on over to Rebecca.
Hello, I'm Rebecca Gray with Amity Foundation. I am the grant administrator for the third-party administrator project.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Wendy Thompson. I am the Associate Director of Training and Technical Support for Amity's TPA or Third-Party Administrator. Welcome again.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Carmen Jacinto. I'm with Amity Foundation. I am the COO for Amity Community-Based Programs. Thank you.
Thank you, Carmen. So Amity Foundation has been selected as the third-party administrator for the CFCI and non-CFCI funding opportunities. We wanted to create a space for the community to give feedback, insight, or recommendations in the subject area of grants to justice. Some of the questions that we have are surrounding gaps in services, potential outcomes in services, and how we can ensure equity throughout this process. Next slide, Carmen. Alan, can you do this one, please?
Absolutely. This is our recording disclosure. This session is being recorded, of course, for the purpose of information that we can resort back to in regards to forwarding the process. For raised hands instructions, when accessing Zoom through a computer browser or smartphone Zoom app, at the bottom tab, you can scroll to reactions and you will see the raised hand feature. When accessing Zoom through a smartphone browser, at the bottom tab, scroll to more, you'll see 3 buttons. You tap on that, you'll get a drop-down menu and the raised hand feature will be there. If you are accessing by telephone only due to technical difficulties, dial-in information is provided in the chat. During the response time, we would ask you to press *9 to raise your hand, or also press *6 to unmute. If you are needing to ask a question and you prefer to use the chat, please place your question in the chat and we will be reading out that question during the process. Also, regarding the Spanish disclosure, for Spanish interpretation, please click the globe where it says interpretation at the bottom of the screen, and then you can select the language. For any other information, please view the chat. We have listed all the numbers, and also the instructions are also located in the chat. Thank you very much, and I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Alan. Next slide, Carmen. Okay, so we will start with our first question. When you think about the program area we're here to discuss today, what are the gaps in services that you know about in your community? Please raise your hand if you would like to make comment on this question.
So if anyone is having trouble raising their hand or can't get through in another way, you can type your comment into the chat box and we will read it aloud. Carmen will be reading aloud Spanish translation, and I will read aloud English comments.
Thank you, Rebecca. I do see Bridget has her hand up.
Yes, thank you so much. I'll start us off with the questions. So my name is Bridget Engel. I'm a supervising attorney at Neighborhood Legal Services of LA County. I supervise our reentry program. And what our team is seeing is a rise in demand for the need of representation in more complex legal matters as a result of the recent changes in the law that allow for these really great remedies for the reentry population, whether it's additional vacatur relief that didn't exist 1 or 2 years ago, fire camp petitions for folks who served as firefighters while in prison. And while all of these remedies are fantastic and really provide pathways towards successful reentry, the problem is it has not come with increased funding for legal services programs. So, you know, we have the same amount of staffing and really limited capacity to meet these increasingly complex legal needs of our clients. So that's something I'd like to see with more funding, is an expansion for legal service providers to be able to meet these more complex legal needs. Thank you.
Thank you, Bridget.
Renee?
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
So I will confess we were not exactly sure which of these meetings to join, what category we fell into, but I work with a nonprofit organization, the Volunteer Center of South Bay Harbor, Long Beach. And in addition to our broader mission of fostering empathy through community service, we're also one of the largest administrators of court-ordered community service in the county. And we see firsthand so many of the barriers that our clients face in trying to complete their community service, and also see so much opportunity for this type of diversion program to be maybe less of a punishment and more of an opportunity for folks to develop, you know, workforce development skills, or get, you know, put in contact with other social support networks within the broader community.
Renee, can you speak to what those barriers are when it comes to community services and those completions?
Yeah, I mean, you know, a lot of it is, and I apologize, I am not staff at the center. And so there's other folks who are far more expert than I am, but, you know, obviously barriers in transportation, getting to the sites where they need to perform their community service, childcare, availability after hours. There are also requirements imposed by the court system that, you know, all of the registration and the verification must take place in person. And there's probably really good reasons for that, but that's an additional barrier. And then, you know, another huge issue that we face is that it's the revenues for the program come from fees that are paid by the participants, and many of them don't really have the ability to pay. And so at the Volunteer Center, we often provide financial aid, but it's not really a financially sustainable model. We're, you know, we spend, you know, $1 for every 81 cents that we get back in revenue. And so we really see an opportunity to make this not only a more financially sustainable diversion option, but also to reduce some of those barriers and make more long-lasting change for the clients.
Thank you. Anybody else have any comments about the first question? Also, please feel free to put it in the chat. Anna?
Anna?
Yes, hi. My name is Anna Littleford. I work at Project Return Peer Support Network, which is a mental health peer-run service agency. And we serve a huge population, service area 7. And one of the biggest things that we're seeing, we offer sort of augmented support to the reentry population, but we're seeing a huge need for support groups and classes like anger management or trauma, sort of seeking safety kind of groups. And there, a lot of times people are court ordered to do these classes and there just aren't enough of them. So it stymies their progress while they're trying to pull together other resources. So I just wanted to mention that. And then there seems to be a high need for systems navigation. We operate a lot of support groups in reentry housing. And a lot of people are put in the housing, but they're not really assigned a case manager or a service coordinator to help them navigate resources. So that seems to be something that is definitely a gap in service.
Thank you, Anna. Any other comments on gaps in services? Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, Joanne, could I a clarifying question? So these are some of the gaps available to the community. Are there gaps in capacity, things that organizations need to better serve their communities?
Thank you, Rebecca. Kwan?
Hi, yeah, my name's Kwan Nguyen. I'm the executive director at DeFi Ventures. Our mission is to shift mindsets to give people with criminal histories their best shot at a second chance through career readiness, personal development, and entrepreneurship training programs. One of the gaps that we see from our participants when they come home from prison is very practical things to help them get back on their feet as far as technology, understanding the technology basics, trouble with just navigating the internet, internet safety, rebuilding their credit after reentry, things like that, just helping them feel like they're a part of the community and the society again.
Thank you, Kwan.
There's a comment in the chat from Tony saying definitely need gaps with respect to technology.
Hi, with regard to the comment in the chat, we have another one from Anna Littleford. Gaps with financial literacy, establishing credit is a perfect example. So again, so for Tony Bryant, is the gap you were talking about a gap that your organization has or a gap that your client has? Because one of the things we're trying to surface in this discussion is the gaps that you are experiencing as an organization delivering your services to clients. So does the organization?
Well, that would be a gap for services, but I guess one of the gaps for my organization would be like to be connected to the people who actually need the services, because we have the services available, and I just think I'm just having a hard time finding where to find the people for the services, where to find, I guess the formerly incarcerated individuals who need the service.
Thank you so much, Tony. That's a great example. Anna Littleford, your comment, gaps with financial literacy, establishing credit. Does your organization also have difficulty with tools for your client, with finding the right tools, with, is there something that your organization needs to deliver better financial literacy? Or
Yeah, I would say we, because we're a peer-run organization, we like to have everyone with lived experience of justice involvement. So training, I think, is a huge thing because people do move on. We want them to move on and pursue their careers. So we have pretty high rates of turnover. So it's staffing and training, I think, are some of our gaps.
Thank you so much for that clarification. There's another comment in the chat from Renee Moilanen. Agree with Anna. We also run court-ordered classes and have wait lists of up to 6 months. There need to be more options. We have data gaps. We need to know more about the population we serve, but we need resources to collect and process that data to inform future investments. We work with 5,000 justice-involved individuals each year. Thank you for that.
Any other questions or comments? Sorry.
Yardina?
Okay. Hello, everyone. This is Queen at the Earth Lodge Center for Transformation. I'm the founder, and we have found in our community that we have, especially after COVID, we had lots of our community members that were just completely stressed out, had high anxiety, a few had mental breakdowns, and ended up in the hospital as a result of it. We would have liked to have kept them here because we felt like if they would be here, they would be in an environment that was, grounding, connected to nature, kind of like an oasis in the middle of the 710 freeway. But we've got the dwelling that we have needs to be set up so that it can become livable. It's an attachment to the primary dwelling space on the property. So my question is, how could we go about, are there services that could support us to fix that dwelling up so that it could be used as an intervention for folks that are right on the borderline of, suicide or a mental breakdown? Thank you.
That's really powerful. I would describe it as.
You're on mute. Sorry, you guys are on mute. Go ahead.
Historically, in my time at the Earth Lodge, it has always provided a place for temporary respite for working class, low income, BIPOC, LGBT community to come and to offer it often at no cost, at the cost of the founder. So that was only accelerated in COVID, with people needing a safe, sacred, spiritually oriented, welcoming, inclusive space to just gather themselves, gather their minds, even if they lived up the street. So creating a space that's for 1 day, 3 day, 5 day is something that we find would be very helpful just as a sanctuary in the city for people to be able to get away for a true 1 to 5 day respite.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comments. I just want to say that what I heard, so during this listening session, we are interested in the needs of the community, and we're really interested in the needs of the organization. So definitely what I heard Queen saying was resources to make the unit that you're operating out of up to code or up to standard or even more livable for the people that you serve. And in the comments, we have Martha Yanis says, we are in need of more therapists.
We had a young person specifically that was here during one of our full moon ceremonies, and we had a talk with them, and they seemed to be on the edge, but they seemed to be okay. After they left here, they tried to jump off of a bridge. And I'll never forget that experience because we really thought that we had provided, enough grounding for them to leave. Had I known that they were in that situation, we probably could have, gone another route that, with even more support. So that's what brings my question to your attention.
Thank you.
Martha?
Yes, hello. Hi, I'm Martha Yanis, and I wanted to suggest about the therapy. There has been I mean, I don't know the numbers yet, but there has been a large high of suicide, and especially with the younger people, and it's a scary thought. It's a scary thing. Um, Especially through COVID, since we all have been sort of segregated from each other, and they have not developed the proper, I guess, social, like social. I'm so sorry. They're not socializing the way they're supposed to, and we were meant to be social creatures. That's the way we were created, and because of this, a lot of these young children, these young kids, I mean, I'm talking about like anywhere from 18 through 29 are all of a sudden talking about suicide and things like that. And that's very concerning. It's very concerning for parents and for, just for our future as humans. Is there any way that we could help that area so that they can get into therapy? I know for a fact that it's very hard to do so. I am the mother of two beautiful young ladies. They have been having so much trouble just to get therapy. They haven't not been able to get in yet. I'm also formerly incarcerated, and there's a lot of trauma with that. It's a scary thought. That's all I need to say.
Thank you, Martha. Anyone else have a comment about gaps in services before we move on to the next question? Okay, next question, Carmen. Given the category, I'm sorry, question number 2, given the category that we are discussing and the services we have been talking about, what changes in your community would mean that the services have been successful? What do you need to see in your communities to say that implementing changes are being successful? Please feel free to put your comments in the chat as well. If you do not want to raise your hand and speak.
I want to add an element to this question as well. When you think about your organization, what would success, if you had funds to do things better or bring on more staff or bring in more therapists, for instance, as Martha said, what would be the changes in your organization that would make you better able to provide services? Like what would that look like? Martha says this is also client directed, but that if there were more living places for the homeless, providing living places for the homeless, that would be a measure of success.
Hello, this is Tony Bryant with Mentors again. I would just like to say a measure for success for me would be seeing less people, just a reduction in recidivism altogether, with the other agencies that we could collaborate together. I mean, just like I heard one lady said she had 5,000 clients. Well, send some my way. I mean, you have a waiting list and I have none. So that's one thing I think we could collaborate better together and have some kind of clearinghouse where, I don't know, I'm just saying we need to be able to get the word out to the agencies and to the clients that the services are available both ways.
Thank you. Khalees? Khalees, I see your hand up.
Yes, are you able to hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I'm Khalees, owner of Salvage Lives Resources. We service the ex-offenders population, be it adult offenders or probationers. And a big thing that I think would really help elevate the quality of service for our organization, and I'm sure others, is training, staff's training. Bringing the staff up to the standards of evidence-based practices and best practices, and understanding, some aspects, if not a firm grasp of trauma-informed care. And someone spoke earlier about the trauma that a lot of our clients and participants are going through and have undergone. There's just proven ways that we need to be able to communicate with them, to reach them and meet them where they're at, and have them responsive to ideas of elevating themselves and coming out of their situation. So staff training is really big on our totem pole. Thank you.
Thank you, Khalees. Renee?
Yeah, I just wanted to echo the comment about partnership and collaboration, because although we do come in contact with 5,000 justice involved individuals each year, we as an organization are not in the position to provide all of the services that they need. And so we would very much welcome conversations with other agencies across Los Angeles County so we could refer our clients to these other organizations. One of our challenges in running a court-ordered community service program is just in general, and this is a system-wide, this is a systemic issue, that it's seen as punishment rather than a place where people can expand on their skills and develop lifelong skills. And I think it's sort of a mindset that needs to be looked at. What is the role of court-ordered community service? Is it just a punishment, or are there opportunities there to help people come in contact with other social supports, to sort of build lifelong skills that will help them beyond their mandated service?
Thank you, Renee. Rebecca?
These are comments from the chat. First, Layatunde of Earth Lodge, may I post your comment to the entire group? Maybe you meant to. I'll wait on that until I get the okay, but here's some other comments from Renee. Shorter duration of court oversight. People complete their court-ordered service on time or early, and they can use their mandated service to build workforce skills. I have a couple more. From Kelly, understanding family dynamics and better ways to support youth who struggle with emotional issues. And I have 4 more. From Bridget, I agree with everyone else about more staffing. We too have a several-month wait list for services. The community demand is high, and there's insufficient staffing across the board to meet that need. From Devante, yes to trauma-informed training support for staff. We have an interpreter who can't unmute. Sorry, just a moment, everyone. I don't know if that worked. We have a request for Renee to put her contact information in the chat. And sorry, I've got one more comment up here above the interpreter request. All right, Renee's contact information is now in the chat. From Yardena, we can serve more with more staffing and general operations support. The need for healing and trauma-informed services has really increased since 2020 due to COVID and Black injustice especially. From Bridget, I agree with everyone else about more staff. I think I already read that one. I apologize. In the chat. Renee Moylanen's contact information. Renee's organization is the Volunteer Session that operates in South Bay, the Harbor area, Long Beach. The website is also here, www.thevolunteer, V-O-L Center, VOLCENTER.org. They have a nonprofit network and they would love to build on it. Alan Johnson has offered in the chat, ethics and boundary training would help. Those are all the chat comments.
Thank you, Rebecca. Any other comments on question number 2 before we move on to the next question? Thank you. Carmen, next slide, please. Question number 3. We are seeking assistance in reaching as many organizations as possible. Do you have any suggestions about email lists, convenings, coalitions, or other places where we might be able to reach service providers? And if you do not want to comment, please feel free to put those organizations or coalitions in the chat.
We do have people beginning to drop their own contact information into the chat. Anna Littleford has recommended the Los Angeles Regional Reentry Partnership as an organization that we can reach out to. Thank you, Anna.
Althea?
Hi, this is Althea from Transformational Living Homes, and we're part of the Long Beach CAP Alliance. There are CAP Alliances in Orange County and out in the Valley also. I know the Caesar already goes to the CAP Alliance in Long Beach, but it would be good to see a lot of people who can help service providers come to the CAP Alliance. I will put the info in the chat. Additionally, there's the Sober Living Network for people who are providing housing for reentry clients via Sober Living. And they have a new website in the light, so I'll put that info in the chat also. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have some suggestions from the chat. Alan Johnson said, provide fairs / community alliances. I can't see the full name. I think it's Summer. Yes, LARRP and TPW or other networks for reentry prison nonprofits. These are more areas where we can reach out to. Savannah says, we at the Incubation Academy have a healthy list of almost 50 organizations ready and primed to offer services and collaborate across all BOS districts.
Any other feedback on convenings, coalitions, or other places we can reach service providers before we move on to the next question? Thank you. Next slide.
Quick, another housekeeping note. The listening session questions will be available on a short survey. That web link is in the chat. Please feel free to disperse that out to all of your relationships and collaborations for those individuals who are unable to attend this listening session, and they can immediately put their comments in that link. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen. Next slide, Carmen. Question number 4. Do you have any recommendations regarding how we might ensure equity throughout the funding application process and after the funding awards are made?
Renee?
So I actually have a question about the funding process, since it's been a little bit difficult to navigate all of these different committees and processes in terms of funding. Is the intent that there will be a competitive awards process so that the feedback that we're giving today will be used to create grant solicitations or notice of funding opportunities that will be released, and then we would have an opportunity to go after those grants? Or what is the process?
Rebecca, do you want to take this one?
I actually am going to defer to Carmen.
Okay.
Thank you, Rebecca. So the purpose of these sessions is that we get community feedback. We want to make sure that we're very inclusive, and opportunities for funding will be communicated. So these sessions will help us support and get feedback on what is the needs and gaps in services for our community.
I do have some comments from the chat. Eba says around ensuring equity. Eba says, have limits on the size of organizations that can apply, like under 2 million. And Anna says, get the demographics of staff and board, including lived experience. Thank you for those. I have another, for the previous slide, I have another from Althea for reaching more community-based organizations through the CAP Alliance, the CAP Alliance, and then a website for us. Thank you, Althea. In the chat regarding this question, question 4, recommendations about ensuring equity, Renee says, encourage projects with partnerships, multiple organizations coming together. In the chat, Bridget has said, I don't agree with limitations based on the size of the organization. I think we are all struggling to get funding to do this work, regardless of size. In the chat, Renee suggests for equity, ensure that we are able to pass grant funds along to subcontractor organizations.
Any other comments about how we can ensure equity throughout the process and the application?
Joanne, there is a bird who has some very strong opinions. from wherever you're coming from. We had Renee said also about this, agree with Bridget, larger organizations could contract with smaller organizations to provide services. And Kalis said, one of the hindrances we at Salvaged Lives Resources experience is many of the various funding streams will only accept 501c3 nonprofit organizations, whereas we, LLCs, partnerships, etc., are given no access to funds. Deb says, ensure that small grassroots organizations that are just starting out can be recognized. I'm going to drop the link to the electronic version of these questions. It's a survey form that you can access online if helpful. I'm going to drop that in the chat again.
Sorry, thank you. I couldn't unmute there for a second. Any other comments about question number 4 before we move on?
In the chat from Martha, I have, we need to provide services for clients to purchase a home to ensure stability for family and generations.
There's no other comments. We are going to move on. Okay, that concludes the questions that we have for this listening session. Thank you everybody for your participation. Please feel free to go to our website. There is a survey there as well where you can make additional suggestions or comments. And we do have 2 more listening sessions coming up. They are also posted on the Amity website and on the ATI website. Thank you everybody for joining. We will stick around if anybody has any other further comments to make. Thank you.
Please also feel free to share the other listening sessions with other community-based organizations, as we would like to hear from everybody.
Ebba?
Yes, I just wanted to make sure I heard right. Were you going to send out a list of all the organizations that attend session? Can you hear me?
You were kind of broken up.
Hello, can you hear me?
I believe we can hear you now.
Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to know, were you going to send out a list of all the organizations that attended? session?
Was the question that if we will be sending out the list of the organizations that are attending this session?
The question is, will you be sending out a list of all the organizations that attended this session?
Carmen, did you hear that question?
Yes, so we can post that and add it to the information on the website. We'll make sure to add that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Again, thank you everybody for joining. Our session is over, but we will be sticking around if anybody else would like to give comment. Thank you.
I do see in the chat that folks are sharing their contact information and the name of the organization.
Hello, everybody. I am going to read aloud the content that has been placed in the chat just for the record. So bear with me. There is going to be some spelling. This is contact information, and I think we should try to get it as correct as possible. So I'm going to begin with Tony Bryant, who lists a website, www.mentorsla, that's MEN as in Nancy, TORS as in Sam, LA.org. Collis Holloway lists salvaged lives resources at 818-378-0530. And also an email that is S as in Sam, L resources, RES as in Sam, OURCES as in Sam, 1, SL resources, and then the number 1 at yahoo.com. From Deborah Roberson. Deborah Roberson, Executive Director. The phone number is 323-899-9398. Deb's email is Deb Roberson, DEB as in Brown, ROB as in Brown, ERS as in Sam, ON as in Nancy. Deb Roberson at tddsupportive.org. That's T, D as in dog, D as in dog, S as in Sam, U, P, P, O, R, T, I, V as in Victor, E.org. All right, next is Layatunde Folayan, lead programmer at Earth Lodge Center for Transformation in Long Beach, California. A website and an email. Website first, www.earthlodgecenter, all together, EART as in Tom, HLOD as in dog, GECEN as in Nancy, TER.org. And email address is Iatunde. It's IYATUN as in Nancy, DE, Iatunde at earthlodgecenter.org, EARTHLOD as in dog, GECEN as in Nancy, TER.org. And I believe that's, let me see if there are more. Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Rebecca. Again, I would want to thank everybody for participating today. At this time, we have concluded our presentation. If you would like to make a comment, feel free, or put it in the chat, or if you'd like to put your contact information in the chat, please feel free. Thank you. Again, thank you everyone for joining. We will continue to stay on for another 15 minutes for additional feedback. Or please feel free to drop your information or your feedback, comments in the chat. And again, thank you everybody for joining. We will be on another about 10 minutes. Please feel free to make comment or post your information in the chat.
Joanne, I'm looking at the list of participants. Looks like most of the participants are either internal faculty of Amity or interpreters. It might be one or two more, so we'll just give maybe 2 more minutes for last comments. And we can end this.
So I do have a person in the waiting room, Constance Gilkey. Shall I admit them?
Yes, Rebecca.
Did she come in, Rebecca?
So I have a message saying joining next to Constance's name. But it doesn't look like they're able to access, maybe. Yeah, it still shows joining next to Constance's name. And I don't see them here.
Are you able to, Rebecca, send her a chat saying that the recording will be available, and just so that she is aware or he's aware?
That sounds great. Okay, they dropped out, so
Okay, thank you, Rebecca. I think we will end the meeting now. Again, thank you everybody for participating, and thank you to our interpreters as well. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.